Alright, you masters, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today I want to talk about superstition, customs, and how often they are related to a sort of survival hack, tip, trick, perhaps. So, I've been listening to some strange superstitions from around the world during a podcast, and I thought to myself, why would this superstition thing that they do, why would it be implemented for a whole wide area in certain parts of the regions? So I did some research and I think I found some very interesting superstitions that have roots in everyday survival, so to say. We're going to go on a list of them and yeah. But before we start that, if you're interested in detective stories, there will be a link to my books called Bloody Crosses and the Jason Murders. It's in Dutch. If you're interested, there will be in the link. There will be a description in the link. Whatever it is. Never mind. I'm drinking my beer, so don't watch too much to that. All right. So first superstition: walking under a ladder brings bad luck. The origin of this goes by if you walk beneath a ladder, it's even sometimes mentioned in Egyptian documents, so to say, or superstitions, but mostly it's a Catholic thing that if you walk beneath a ladder, you thwart the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and by doing that, you bring bad luck to yourself. But the most uh, the reason why you would say that it will bring bad luck because walking on a ladder means somebody is doing something upstairs and they might drop tools from repairs or a person who's standing on that you touch the ladder they will fall on top of you, that kind of stuff. So that's a reasonable origin for from a survival standpoint. Don't walk under ladders because things might fall on you. Simple as that. Another thing, superstition is spilling salt. And yeah, if you spill some salt on the table, it would bring bad luck, and you can undo this by taking off some of the salt and throw it over without looking backwards, over your left shoulder to so-called throw it in the eyes or the face of the devil who is standing behind you, because it will otherwise bring bad luck. So this has some origin in because salt used to be a very precious commodity, and yeah, by just spilling it, by dropping it on the table, you lost some of that salt, and yeah, that will in those days it cost a lot of more money. It was worth more because not only because for food, but also for how do you say this in English? Preservation for foods and also for certain cleaning aspects. So salt was a big deal, and by spilling it, you will remind yourself, I will take some of it and I will spill it again to remind you I lost even more money. So you will next time you will be more carefully. So that's where that come from. Uh, Finding a horseshoe brings good luck, and it comes from like in medieval times when people were walking with horses, and the horse lost their horseshoe, and you walked by the road and you found a horseshoe that was valuable in that time. You could sell it to a blacksmith or to somebody with a horse, and that piece of iron from a horseshoe that is being crafted in that shape, it was very valuable, so it would bring good luck by finding one of those. So yeah, that will teach you to always look, be more alert, even when you walk, because people used to walk long distances to get to where they have to on a daily basis. So you walk on the road and you will keep walking, looking on the road. You might find a horseshoe instead of just walking, just going off to the mills, so to say. So it is a reminder to keep alert and looking at what you might find that might be valuable. It's like the parable with Jesus and he threw the berries. Uh, yeah, I would say uh, look it up. Next thing I would say is a broken mirror. A broken mirror will give 7 years of bad luck, they say. But the reason why is because mirrors were very expensive in Roman time, medieval time, uh, because before the industrial age, mirrors making them was very expensive. Materials were very expensive, and yeah, if you break it, you break something very expensive and luxurious. So to remind you to be very carefully about luxurious and precious and expensive objects, that you will take more care of it instead of willy-nilly and breaking it. So that's the reason why breaking a mirror is 7 years of bad luck. Step on a crack. There are several ways to say this. They say stepping on a crack invites the devil to do bad on you. It's bring you bad luck. Sometimes it will break your back or give you a hurt in your back or something. So that's what that superstition is, and I can see why, because it's yet again like the horseshoe. You have to be alert around you. If you walk on the street and you see a crack and you notice the crack in on the floor or whatever, whether it's a stone floor or wooden floor, yeah, that floor is broken. You might step on it and fall. You can break and sprain an ankle, or perhaps there is something beneath it, a hollow pit or something, and if you step on a crack, there's a chance that it will break, whether it's stone in a sort of sinkhole or a wooden floor with a crack in it that you will fall through. So stepping on a crack is not always a good idea. So it's a reminder that to not step on cracks that might be broken stone or broken wood, wooden floors. So all right. Another thing is finding a lucky penny. A lucky penny, if you walk down the street and you see a penny, you say, "Oh, this is my lucky penny," and usually they say, "Buy a lottery ticket with it," so you can, because you found a lucky penny, it will give luck if you buy a lottery ticket. But there are several reasons why they were called lucky pennies, because finding money is already an omen of good luck, but it's also a way to get out of trouble. Because if you find extra money that you did not have earlier, you, how do you say this? You will not be seen as a vagabond or a hobo, drifter, or a pauper, so to say. Because in Scotland, for example, there is the lucky penny you will always keep in your sporran, which is the little bag when you're wearing a kilt. Uh, because if you have one pound or one coin, it means you're not a drifter, a hobo, or a poor person, and it was illegal to have no money on you, because yeah, you might do crime if you don't have money, and that's why it's called a lucky penny to have in your sporran or in your wallet. And there was how do you say this, a law in Belgium in the time of my grandparents, and it was like you have to have at least 50 francs on your person to not be considered a vagabond, so the police could not arrest you, because that money could mean, yeah, if you were in trouble, you could call your family members to come to collect you by putting it into the phone booth, so to say. So, or call a cab or something. So those were the things you could do, and that's why it's called a lucky penny. Another thing is never light 3 cigarettes with the same fire, and it is more of a military superstition, like in World War One, in Vietnam War, perhaps even to these days. It means that if you would light a cigarette with a lighter, there is a big flame, and it could be seen by snipers. And the reason why 3 persons is because that's the time a sniper needs to, first person, the lighter is on, first person, the sniper sees the flame. second person's cigarette is getting put on, then the sniper can take aim to where the flame is. And the third person who gets a lighter, that's when the sniper is ready to shoot usually. So one, two, three. So that's the reason why soldiers never have the superstition to never light three cigarettes with the same light or fire. All right. There is another one with a cigarette, and that is never light a cigarette from a candle or a cigar, and that is a bad luck because that is, I think, more of beginning of the 20th century, especially in the time where there is a whole history of there was this Swedish matchmaker factory who got monopoly over whole even South America, Europe, and even and I think it was in South America that they were even so they're pushing it these matches for the monopoly that if you, that the police would set out uh, people to ask random people on the streets to light their cigarette, and if they used a lighter they could be fined a lot of money if they did not use the matches that were considered approved by the government, who was hand in hand with this big matchmaker factory. So that's one of the things, so to say. And sailors used to uh, how to say this, to get some extra money by selling matches onto boats and ships and harbors and that kind of stuff. So by lighting your cigarette with a candle, you take money that somebody else could earn, so to say, one of your buddies or whatever. So that's also an omen of bad luck, because if you prevent somebody from earning a little bit extra money, they will get mad at you and they will perhaps not help you later on, or angry at you and do some shit. So that's the reason why this is a thing. Uh, do not leave the keys on tables in Sweden. That's also perhaps a weird superstition, because um, or was it already? It was usually a trick from prostitutes to solicit for, oh, here are the keys. If you want to me to be a prostitute, take the keys and go to that room over there. So it was that kind of stuff. So if you were just a regular person, and you had some keys on your table, you might be viewed as a prostitute, so to say. So that's the reason why. And yeah, if you don't want to be looked upon like that, especially if you're a woman, could be bad luck and could draw people who are perhaps horny, and now they think you're a prostitute who is not interested in them. And people who do sex work and they have to say no to clients, these are there could be this is a line of work where a lot of people could get angry, violent, aggressive, that kind of stuff. So that's the reason why you want to prevent this kind of confusion, so to say. Um Another thing I would say is, don't drink water that reflects moonlight. So this is from Turkey, and they say never drink water that where moonlight has shine upon. And there is a good reason why, actually, because if you drink water where moonlight is reflecting on, it means it's night, and you cannot see when it's dark. You cannot see if the water is pure. It might be water with algae, might be dark brownish water with tannins from leaves or whatever. So it's dangerous to drink water that you cannot see if it's pure, at least, or if it's there is nothing, no shit around, so to say. So, and also for bathing, that you will not get infections, diseases, or something. So during the day you can see, oh, I will not get into that water. That water is green or brown. And yeah, during the night you cannot see that, and you have more chance to die of disease or get sick from it. So that's why in Turkey they don't drink water where moonlight is reflecting on. And another thing I would say is, if you wash yourself into water when it's dark, you might get one of those cold shocks, drown, or you will perhaps be not a good swimmer or get drifted away by the current, and in the dark nobody can see you or come to save you. So that's another reason why moonlight on water is dangerous. Um, there is another one. Um, keep in Laos. There is a superstition to keep an open space on a wooden bench. If you have a wooden bench, whether you sit with 10 people on it, or with 5 people on it, or 2 people on it, it doesn't matter. What matters is if you sit on a bench, wooden bench, always leave for one person space open. And there is a reason for this, because usually a bench is made for a certain amount of people. Like I see some kids sitting with 5 people on the bench, 3 on the bench, and 2 on the sides where you sit with your back against. So yeah, those are strong benches. But in countries like Laos, where there are more people who cannot afford strong benches, they are made out of wood, and yeah, then you are sure that no person will sit on the bench, extra person sit on the bench. Like for example, you have a bench with so for 3 people, if you sit with 2 people, you're sure it will not collapse and you will not hurt yourself and perhaps get an infection by a cut or something, or breaking your back or your ankle or whatever. You don't want that. But if there is a third person in that space, there is a chance it will collapse. So it's a superstition to make sure that no other people will take up space, and it's a safety measurement, so to say. Uh, Another one, in Kuwait and Burma, they say don't leave shoes upside down because that will bring bad luck. And I've seen this one in multiple countries, and it's very interesting because a lot of people would say, "Oh, turning your slippers or your shoes upside down, what is the harm in that? I can just put my feet inside of them and flipping them over." But the problem is, these kind of countries, they have snakes, scorpions, poisonous insects. So if your slipper or shoe is upside down, a little critter, snake, scorpion, insect might seek refuge inside of it. You flip it over, it will think it will get attacked and it will bite you, and you don't want that. So that's where this superstition came from, and I found it very interesting, especially if you see it in certain countries and you think, what do all these countries have in common to that this is a superstition? And that's why it's very interesting, in my opinion. One superstition that I found very, very strange was don't trim nails at night. And this was in a lot of places: Somalia, Algeria, Africa, Turkey, even Asian countries. They say don't trim your nails at night. And in a way, these are more usually in more poorer countries, so to say. So yeah, light is not always the brightest, so to say, like from candlelight, because in impoverished areas. And if you trim your nails with a knife, clipper, whatever, you have a chance that you will. Oh, there's a lot of wind today. Yeah, there's a chance that you will cut too much nails, or cut too deep, bleeding. Perhaps your clipper, your knife is not that sterile, and you will get a cut, infection, you get sick, you die. So perhaps this is the reason why they had to do something like this, and especially in countries where they, like in these countries that I named, they often used, for example, cook with dried dung, or they handle a lot of fish, that kind of stuff. This will get between your nails. That's also the reason why Asian people are very strict about clean nails, so to say. Get between your nails, you get a cut by cutting it into the dark, and you are now getting an infection. So it's very interesting in that regard. Uh, Another one, sweeping. Wait. Sweeping at night brings bad luck. Yeah, sorry. I have a list here that I will not forget any of the superstitions. Sweeping at night brings bad luck, and yeah, it's kind of obvious actually if you think about it. Especially in countries like Asia or Africa, if you sweep at night, you don't see the dangerous critters like insects, snakes, big rats, or whatever. You sweep, they will feel threatened because you don't see these small animals or insects, and they will attack you, bite you. Perhaps you get poisoned, or you get infection from the bite, or in the worst case, rabies or something. So this is the reason why sweeping at night is bringing bad luck. Who knew? Another thing. This one I found very weird, so to say. But if you really think about it, it makes sense. And these were in different countries, like more Slavic countries like Russia, Ukraine, also in certain Asian countries, written of whistling indoors brings bad luck. And I thought to myself, how the fuck would that work? And if you really think about it, yeah, first of all, it's a signal to criminals that you are there. For example, if you're a woman, you whistle, and a criminal or a person with bad intentions, thief, robber, rapist, whatever, walks by and breaks into your house, and they will hear, oh, they're there. If they are there, I can rob here. Or in the worst case, they're there. There is someone over there whistling. I will. I know that where they are, and I will do horrible things to them or take them hostage or whatever. So that's the first thing: signaling where you are to criminals. Another thing is misophonia. Misophonia is when you are when you're very sensitive to certain noises. I have discovered recently that I'm actually a person who has misophonia in certain ways and many people would say, well, you're just being really annoyed by certain noises. What's the big deal? But it is very weird because I thought I was just being a little bit stupid, but apparently it's a real thing. And it's like, in my experience, it's like when I'm eating with my colleagues, you must imagine a whole room in the cantina. Everybody's eating, talking to each other. Plates are making noises, and in all this, it's very hard to even understand each other when you talk to each other because of all the noise. And between all that noise, I can hear someone slurping his soup, and it's like when somebody is scratching on the chalkboard. That's the same sensation I have with people who are making eating noises and slurping soup. For me, it's like that scratching on the chalkboard, and I can hear it in a whole room of people, even if they are on the other side of the room with all that noise. And it's not like you're only annoyed; you really get sick by it. Whenever somebody does these eating noises or slurping sounds, I really get this feeling like I need to throw up or getting a brick in my stomach, so to say. So yeah, it's a real thing that I only recently discovered why I always had this problem. I thought it was just being a little bit of a wimp, so to say, but apparently certain people have that with certain noises, other noises, and that is the reason why whistling indoors is brings bad luck because people will get annoyed who are sensitive to certain noises, and a lot of people find whistling something annoying. So in that case, person can get aggressive, can get annoyed, or they will not help you, or they will try to sabotage something from you because they are angry at you because you're always whistling inside of the house. So that's another thing. So, and it's also a very selfish behavior if you're in a room with, especially in Slavic countries where usually there are, like, especially in the Soviet time, where multiple families would live in the same apartments or houses, and somebody's always whistling, you will get annoyed by it. And also, it's a distraction at workplace. If you do especially a dangerous job, if you try to, if you hear whistling or you try to whistle, you get distracted and you might lose a finger or worse, or you cut yourself or whatever line of work you're doing. So that's the reason why whistling indoors is considered a bad omen or bringing bad luck. Another thing is catching a leaf in the hand prevents sickness. Uh, it is especially in, I thought it was England. Yeah, it was England or somewhere west northern Europe. And the thing is, if you if you catch a leaf, it was a leaf in the spring. That was no, a leaf in, yeah, a leaf in spring. You will not get sick during winter because if you are already in spring catching leaves, it's a good omen. It's a good omen. Plants are already growing very well if they are already dropping leaves in spring, and Yeah, that means there's a lot of food, and a lot of food means a good immune system, and you will not get that much sick in winter. So that's perhaps where it comes from. Very interesting. And this is the last one. Don't give a knife, a scissor, or any other sharp item as a gift to someone. Yeah, because this especially in Asia, I think, and also in Poland, I think. I'm not sure about it, but the thing is, if you give somebody a knife, for example, there is a chance someday they will get into an argument with their wife, of somebody else, and they will use the knife to kill someone. Bad luck. If you give a knife to someone during a party as a gift, like I said, there could be a problem that they will drink too much, some arguments happening, and they will use that same knife to stab someone or whatever, or do something stupid and cut themselves. So that's the reason why you don't give gifts, sharp objects or knives to someone, even for the birthday. So this was just talk about how superstitions could have a root in everyday survival, and I found it a very interesting topic, so to say. So if you know any other superstitions that have some some base in survival, everyday survival, please let me know in the comments. I'm always eager to learn, and especially from other regions in the world or countries, or that's kind of your own superstition if you have one. Please let me know in the comments. Always eager to learn. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff, and see you in the next video. Cheers.